Welcome back. It's been a rough and tough run-up to the U.S. presidential elections as President Donald Trump and Democrat nominee, that is Joe Biden, go head-to-head. But now Americans are heading to the polls to choose between the two. Our U.S. correspondents, that's Rachel Silverman and Jagruti, join us now to share what's happening on the ground. Thank you so much for joining us, colleagues. Rachel, let me start with you. You're in Oakland, California, and just keen to know how it's been looking, especially ahead of the election day.
Well, California is an overwhelmingly Democratic state, and there's really very little chance ever that California will do anything but put its entire bucket of electorates towards Joe Biden. There is a lot of excitement here because Kamala Harris, the vice presidential nominee, is from California. She was actually born here in Oakland. And amongst the people in this, there's a very large African-American community here in the San Francisco Bay Area, especially in Oakland. And there are many people who got a surge of excitement when Kamala Harris was chosen as Joe Biden's nominee. This cities, states, and lots of jurisdictions are preparing now for the possibility of violence, boarding up businesses and putting law enforcement on alert in case it gets messy tomorrow or the day after or the day after that.
Right. And just coming to you, Jagruti, I mean, we have been reading about those, mail votes as well, especially when it comes to President Donald Trump and how he plans to almost challenge legally. It sounds like almost as if the votes do not go in his favor.
Yes, indeed. That's what many commentators are saying, that in many of his rallies, he sounds like he might even be accepting that if the result might not go his way. And he said that he'll go in with the lawyers, and particularly in the state of Pennsylvania. And here, the issue is that Pennsylvania is allowed to count mail-in ballots that arrive after Election Day, 3 days after Election Day, in fact, which President Trump is claiming without evidence that is an example of potential fraud. Remember, throughout this campaign, he has cast doubt on the validity of mail-in ballots, frequently claiming that they are subject to fraud. No independent study has shown that there is electoral fraud when it comes to mail-in ballots in the United States. And so there's a question then that in states like Pennsylvania, where those mail-in ballots come in after November the 3rd, that there might be litigation, legal action that takes place that draws out the decision of this election further. And this has added to a lot of the divisiveness that has been a feature of this campaign. As Rachel was saying there, businesses boarding up in California. That's happening in Washington, D.C. as well. You're seeing businesses boarding up their frontages in anticipation of possible unrest should the result be disputed.
Yeah, and speaking about that unrest, Rachel, I mean, we've heard from different states that there has been tension, obviously, particularly at this time of campaigning. Now, as Joe Biden and Donald Trump continue to go head-to-head at the polls come Election Day, have we been seeing that kind of tension just in Oakland, in California?
I have been covering elections for a very long time here in the United States, and I have never been involved. I don't remember an election where there's been so much tension and so much fear. People here feel like this is the election that's going to decide their future and their children's future, and they feel that it's possibly the most important election of their lives. People are really on tenterhooks, waiting to see what will happen. It's difficult to know that we're going to have to wait longer than tomorrow to get the results. It could take days, it could take weeks to get the results for them to be counted, and then we expect some litigation. Each side has hired hundreds of lawyers, and there are already dozens of lawsuits about the ballots, about the mail-in ballots, about drive-in ballots, about all kinds of ballots.
No, I think that's where we'll leave it. Colleagues, thank you so much. Rachel Silverman and Jagruti.